Good day, everyone. I am Maria Marjorie J. Delino, and my assigned topic is all about task-based language teaching. As teachers, we always complain about our students do not speak in English in our classroom. They might feel threatened or shy, but the fact is, few of them actually dare. The task-based learning or TBL, helps students to have a meaningful experience with the language and give them context, and the result is motivation. And what is task-based language teaching? Task-based language teaching, or also known as TBLT, it refers to an approach based on tasks as a core unit of planning and instruction in language teaching. It is also engaging learners in task work, provides a better context for the activation of learning processes, and it is also believed to depend on immersing students not in comprehensive input but in tasks that require them to negotiate meaning and engage in a natural and meaningful communication. Goals in TBLT are determined by the specific needs of particular learners, and it is also the selection of tasks according to Long and Grokers in the 1993. It should be based on the careful analysis of the real-world needs of learners by Richards and Rogers Total. It is also a piece of classroom work involving learners in comprehending, manipulating, producing, or interacting in a target language, while their attention is specifically focused on meaning rather than form. The following are the types of task. First is listing. Example of listing are the following: brainstorming, fact-finding, and games based on listing, like quizzes, memory, and guessing. Second type of task is ordering and sorting. Example, sequencing, ranking, ordering, and classifying. Next type of task is comparing and contrasting. Example, games finding similarities and differences, and graphic organizers. Next is problem-solving task. Example of problem-solving task is logic problem prediction. Next type of task is projects and creative task. Example, newspaper, posters, and survey fantasy. Next type of task is sharing personal experiences. Example, storytelling, anecdotes, and reminiscence. And lastly is matching. Example is words and phrases to picture. There are three roles of a teacher in a task-based learning. First is selector or sequencer of tasks. A central role of a teacher is in selecting, adapting, or creating the tasks themselves and then forming this into an instructional sequence in keeping with the learner's needs, interests, and language skill level. Second task of a teacher is preparing learners for tasks. Pre-task preparation or COing is important, which could include the topic, introduction, clarifying task instructions, helping students learn or recall useful words and phrases to facilitate achieving a given task. And lastly is consciousness raising. Employ a variety of form-focusing techniques, including attention, focusing pre-task activities, text exploration, guided exposure to parallel tasks, and use of highlighted materials. There are also rules of a learner in a task-based learning. First is group participant. Many tasks will be done in pairs or small groups. Second rule of a learner is monitor. The tasks designed are a means to show students how language is used in communication. And lastly, The role of a learner is to rest taker or innovator. Many tasks will require learners to create and interpret messages without full linguistic resources and prior experience. The practice will involve restating, paraphrasing, and using paralinguistic signals. The following are the advantages of task-based learning language. First, it is widely applicable as it's suitable for learners of all ages and backgrounds. Second, during the task, the learners are allowed to use whatever language they want, freeing them to focus entirely on the meaning of their message. It also makes closer to real-life communicative situation, which is a way of bringing the real world into a classroom, by Crane in the year 1987. And lastly, learners are striving to express what they want to say. They are more motivated to absorb the language needed, either new language that they asked you or language that they have to meet but not acquired properly so far. Next are the disadvantages of task-based learning language. First, some learners revert to mother tongue when things get difficult or if the group feels impatient. Second, pressure of time will force learners to make use of language that can be readily accessed rather than to attempt to create language in real time. There may be a minimal concern with accuracy and no incentive for learners to extend their existing language system by Skihan in the year 1996. And lastly, evaluation of task-based learning can be difficult. The nature of task-based learning prevents it from being measurable by some restricted and traditional tests, by Crane in the year 1987. To summarize my report, task-based learning is based on the use of tasks as the core unit of planning and instruction in a language teaching. Tasks that involve real communication are essential for language learning. Learners learn language by interacting communicatively and purposefully while engaged in the activities and tasks. The focus is on the process rather than the product. Language that is meaningful to the learner supports the learning process. The activities and the tasks of a task-based syllables are sequenced according to difficulty. The difficulty of a task depends on the range of factors, including the previous experience of the learner, the complexity of the task, the language required to undertake the task, and the degree of support available, by Richards and Rogers in the year 2001. And errors are not necessarily the result of bad learning, but are part of the process of inter-language forms gradually moving towards target forms. And that could be all. Thank you for watching.